Okay. So this is a game that I played as black. You can see in the end I ended up at 1099 to 1106. Um, so they start with d4. I don't know really any d4 lines. And I believe this is a form of the King's Indian attack. Um, I'm ultimately just playing to defend this pawn. Um, and simple developing moves. This is, just one of the standard kind of put your bishops here where you can, bring out your knights, protect your pawns. So I'm playing book moves, but that's just because they're kind of fundamental developing moves. Um, and I'm protecting this pawn, um, and I develop my bishop to try and castle. Um, at which point, um, At which point they just push their pawn. Um, I'm kind of unsure in this position how this works, but it seems like it leaves this square to kind of place my knight pretty comfortably. And I end up doing that with the ideas of taking this knight, which they let me do. So now I'm staring here um, with the potential discovered or attack. If I can get rid of these pawns, this is what I was thinking. Now, this rook does defend the queen. So what ends up happening is the um, the engine wants me to take this pawn because um, this is pinned, but I didn't see that in the game, so I just went for this pawn break. Ultimately, looking for this discovered idea. Um, at this point, um, I am still trying to do this idea, and it was around here where I noticed that that wasn't feasible. Um, and so I just protect my knight. Similarly, this wants me to take on h4 because it's pinned, but sometimes pawn pins can be a little finicky and hard to see. So it's just a trade, um, and there's ultimately ideas of these pawns both trying to push. Um, And so ultimately, my idea here is to set up a battery um, and kind of push this pawn forward. Um, Now I have to prevent the checkmate attack, so I put my pawn up, and now I'm seeing kind of this. So I just decide to build this battery that I've been trying to do. Um, at which point they protect this bishop, which I'm not really sure what the idea behind that was. Um, but I decided to just make this trade with kind of more discovered ideas of potentially attacking things. Um, and I noticed this pawn was hanging, so I just pushed a pawn. At which point they're similarly pushing pawns. Um, and I just decided to trade off to simplify a little bit. Um, I don't entirely know my thought process. I think I was thinking maybe I had more activity. Um, I had a strong grasp of the center with these open files. Um, and here I'm threatening to win both to win a pawn. Um, Now they see that, and I still go for the trade. Um, and I'm thinking of setting up a battery here, but I decide to attack this pawn, or at least set that up. So they see that and protect it. At which point, I decide to push pawns. Ultimately, I'm looking to protect here, maybe win this, um, and that's ultimately what I do. Um, and as they're pushing, I'm just trying to win this pawn here. I figure if takes takes, I can just blockade, um, and they just push the pawn. So to prevent that, I just try and blockade it prematurely. I don't really want them to promote here. Um, and so I just, once again, strengthen this kind of blockade here. At this point, I'm thinking, I have more time to get here than their king has to get there. Um, and so if I can just kind of simplify the game, um, I would be winning. Um, and I think here the king, that he kind of wasted time. Um, well, he wasted time with this move. So it basically allows me to promote first, um, and win the pawn before it promotes. At this point, it's just a matter of not losing the queen, and not letting them get their own queen. Um, and so then it's just a simple mate. Um, yeah, and that's the video.